We were heading home from the Bay of Fundy when we took a left turn and ended up at the northernmost corner of the US. And it just so happens, this little detour tied a bow on a road trip we did almost 2 years ago. Keep watching. What an adventure. Well, good morning. We are slowly making our way back home. We left the campsite and beside the ocean. That's probably one of the nicest campsites we've been to. We're currently driving through St. John, New Brunswick. We're not stopping today. At the time we're just passing through. I'm not sure that we'll be back this way. We will be stopping in Kent, Maine tonight. And I'll show you why later. Oh, really?
Yeah.
Okay.
And, I have tried any of their summer beers.
I'm going to do a flight, so we'll see.
Yeah, that's the best way to go.
Nice.
You guys have a good one.
Yeah, you do. Once I told the U.S. border guard where we were headed, he graciously offered some tips for the brewery. Let's pull over here. All right, we crossed the border. We are in the U.S. and there's one little stop that I wanted to make. Four Corners Park. We are in Madawaska, Maine. Bottom, Key West, Florida. We were there in 2023. Blaine, Washington. We were at Port Angeles, which is about here, so we were pretty close. Very loud here. So this is Blaine, Washington. That's the top corner. We were in Port Angeles, which is right off to the side when we did the Olympia National Park when we did our Vancouver tour. I'll leave a link for that here. I'll also leave a link for the Florida video here. But this is a quirky little, nice little rest stop as soon as you cross the border. Kind of cool. Memorial Park. They have a visitor center. There's lots of parking. We parked the RV on the street because there's lots of parking there, but well, that should give you a bit of a hint as to where we are going, because this park is on Route 1 and we're in the top corner and we're at the bottom corner in Key West at mile marker 0.
Route 1 begins in Key West, or ends here, depending on what side of the street you're on and how you look at it. The highway is 2,370 miles long and runs all the way to the Canadian border.
So that should give you an idea of where we're headed. Anyways, let's get back on the road. We are almost to our destination. We have a cool campsite for tonight. But yeah, Madawaska, Maine. All right, let's get back on the road. Here we are, Fort Kent, Maine. And here to the right, this is what we came for. As you may have guessed from our first stop, we're in northern Maine and we're at America's First Mile. So I'll put a picture here. You may remember we were at Key West at mile marker 0 and I put a sticker there. And now we're at the other end of US Route 1 up in Fort Kent, Maine. And this is the crossing to go back into Canada right here. We're going to cross tomorrow. We're going to spend the night here. The city of Fort Kent has a campground. It's $54 US, full hookups. We're going to go have dinner at First Mile Brewery and we're crossing back home tomorrow morning. To the right is the border crossing. And just past that to the left is the Fort Kent Police Station. This is where we need to register for the campsite and to pick up our keys. So the city of Fort Kent has a campground right on the side of the river. And we're staying there for the night. It's $54 US a night, full hookups. Actually quite nice. Very simple. And 10-minute walk to the brewery. Can't beat that. Look at this mural depicting a time before bridges when wooden barges were used across the river. Alright, if the brewery is a fail, at least we know we have a plan B. And here's the old train station. The brewery is just at the end of this long building. Here it is. Here's what I got. And here's Guylain's flight. This one is a peanut butter porter. I'm not a big porter guy. It's very strong. Yeah, I had to get some beer.
Yeah.
And here we are going on to Route 1. We bought some beer to go. We bought some souvenir glasses for both us and for Guylain's parents who are with us in Key West. And we had 2 flights while we were there, so we ended up spending $75 US, which is about 100 Canadian. So they don't have food. So McDonald's was the plan B, and now we've decided that we have enough stuff at the trailer, so we're going to plan C. Plan C is we're eating at the trailer, going to bed early, getting an early start tomorrow. We may have a few more of these. Good morning. Let's fly the drone before we hit the road. Here is Fort Kent. It was closed when we got here, and it's also closed today, so we'll have to come back some other time if we want to check it out. You can see the St. John River right behind the campground here, separating Canada and the United States. Okay, with the keys dropped off at the police station, it's time to cross the bridge back into Canada. Why is Border Patrol waving me over? Oh, I did not see the height restriction. Good thing he saw me because I wouldn't have fit. Good morning. This may or may not be the last day of the trip. We're going to see. We're heading into some pretty bad weather. So we still have, we have 3 days that we can take to get home. So we'll see how bad the weather is when we pull over. Campsite was okay. Got a little noisy after 9:30. I think people parked their trailer there for the summer or for weekends or whatever, and I guess some people came in late last night about 10 o'clock, and there was fireworks, and anyways. But fairly nice campground, inexpensive. So we are currently, the campground is right on the other side of the river from Canada, and we have crossed the border. There's been a lot of YouTube videos from some bigger channels that are talking about don't cross the border, or warnings when crossing the border, or I'm never going to Canada again. And honestly, I don't see what the big deal is. We've crossed the border hundreds of times and never had an issue going into the States, never had an issue coming back to Canada. You have to make sure that you check the websites. I will put links to the websites on what you're allowed to bring back, what you're allowed to bring, what you have to declare. We went to a brewery and we bought beer, and we're bringing beer back. We've been there for less than 24 hours, and they just passed us through. But you have to tell them about it, because if they decide to search you and they find it and you haven't told them about it, that's when you're in trouble. Just don't be nervous. Don't bring anything that you're not supposed to, and it's not going to be an issue. Very simple. There's nothing to be scared of. There's nothing to be nervous about. In fact, at this border crossing, one of the customs officers came outside to tell me that the lane I was in, I wasn't going to fit with my trailer, and he directed me to a different lane. So, you know, it's no different than their law enforcement is no different than speaking to a police officer. There's nothing to be nervous about. Anyways, we are back in Canada, and let's see how far we get today. We have one quick stop at another quirky little place, which also involves crossing the border. More about that later. This road is so rough it's knocking my fillings out. Maybe we should have stuck to the highway. The roads here were very rough. So rough, in fact, that my hatch here was open. I don't always lock the hatches, and this particular case I did not lock the hatch, and so it was only the knob that was keeping it in place, and I guess it opened on these roads. And check out this bridge. On this side we have the Canadian flag with the flag of Quebec, and on the other side the American flag with the flag of Maine. This is another one of those quirky little spots. This is the northernmost point in Maine, and this bridge spans the river, and the other side of the river is Maine, and this side of the river is Canada. And this is called Petit Point International, and we're allowed to go over, but we can't stay. We can't bring anything with us, so we're just going to go over and check the boundary and then come right back. Let's go to Maine. Yep, this pedestrian bridge is an international border crossing. And now technically I am in the US. There's no customs here. I believe the customs is further up the road, but we're just going to have a quick look and head back. Madawaska may claim to be the northernmost town in Maine, but this little marker at Parc de la Frontière just outside of Estcourt Station, Maine, is the actual northernmost point of Maine. So technically this side we're on Canada. Treaty of Washington, is that what set the borders? We'll have to check that out. Yes, the Treaty of Washington, signed in Washington, D.C. on May 8, 1871, among other things, clarified and peacefully resolved disputes over the U.S.-Canada border. And if you look way over there in Canada, you can see our trailer. Yeah, so this is Parc de la Frontière. If you know anything about me, you know I love these little quirky spots. This is the northernmost point in Maine. I love neat little interesting spots like this. Anyways, well, technically our next stop is home, but we've already heard that the weather's pretty bad, so we might not make it home today. We'll see. If you've followed the channel at all, you know that hot dogs are a thing, poutine is a thing, chip stands are a thing, and we've now been on the road for 2 weeks without any of the above. So we're gonna see if we can find a chip stand today. Time for the long walk back to Canada. And here's the marker seen from the Canadian side. And that's going to do it for this maritime adventure. We couldn't find a chip stand. And so we ended up with plan C, and we went for McDonald's. We went to puts it in her she did a search for puts in on Google Maps, and it brought us to this. It was a restaurant. It was kind of like a French version of Swiss Chalet, and I don't even think they served puts in, but nobody talked to us for a good 5-10 minutes. We were there, so we just walked out, and there was a McDonald's across the street, so we just had that. The weather's holding, so we're going to try to get home. So that's going to be it for now. Next week we are doing a kayak trip somewhere in northern Quebec to Lac de Sèvres, and I think the kids are coming. Some of the kids are coming anyways. So we will see you then. Next time we have the kayaks for a weekend getaway and some time on the water. So join us. Our next adventure is just around the corner.